Today, we're taking a look at a programmer that has claimed to find a backdoor in mathematics itself that proves that there is a creator of the universe. This is going to be really interesting because it touches on a lot of topics that we talk about, such as reality being mathematical and a lot more. And we're going to see, does this really prove that a God exists, or does it possibly prove something else entirely? It's very interesting. So let's take a look at this, and we're going to be taking a look at this article from musicradar.com. Now this is really fascinating here. So what it says is, a Voxengo plugin developer says that he's broken into some backdoor in mathematics itself that proves that the universe has a creator. So for those who don't know, Voxengo is just an audio plugin. It has nothing to do with reality or theology or anything like that. It's an audio plugin for music or whatever. So someone who is developing this plugin says that unexpectedly he found this backdoor in mathematics and that it proves the universe has a creator. So let's see what this is all about, and let's see if there's anything to this. So Alexei Vanev believes that his discovery is both the greatest and worst in the history of mankind, and that it poses unnerving questions. This is really fascinating stuff here. So we're used to hearing plugin developers telling us that their new software is the best synth compressor, EQ, reverb, delay ever, but it's rare to hear one claiming that they've broken into some backdoor in mathematics itself that shows that there was some kind of creator in the universe prior to the Big Bang. That's what's really fascinating about this as well, because this is about software dealing with synthesizers or compressors or EQ or reverb, music, audio in general. But this individual stumbled upon this backdoor, is what is being claimed here. And I think what's important to note is that they're saying that it shows there was some kind of creator in the universe prior to the Big Bang. So does their work show this? Did they find a backdoor into this? What are they talking about here? And we're going to take a look, because right now this is an article about what the individual is saying, but we also have the individual's himself, his statement here, as well as his work in general. So let's take a look and see what's going on. So that's what Voxengo's Alexei Vanev is saying. We're told that he made this remarkable discovery while working on Prakash dithering noise generator that's used in several of his products, including the elephant limiter. Again, these are all just having, limiters, EQs, all that sort of thing. It just has to do with audio, music. So it's at this point that we struggle to follow Vanev's research, which he's described in great detail. Being experts in neither maths, physics, or plugin development, his conclusions, though, are neither being experts in maths, physics, or plugin development. His conclusions, though, are startling and pose what the author describes as an interesting and probably very questionable proposition. And so this is true. If he has put out his work here in a very long and detailed paper. You can see that. So I have not had time to go over this. Neither am I a plugin programmer or developer. So I want to say that I can't say whether or not that this individual's programming or the way he came to his conclusions are valid or not. I don't know. I'm not a programmer. I couldn't tell you. So if he's a kook, maybe he's a kook. If he's a genius, maybe he's a genius. I don't know. But what we can do is look at his conclusions and see if they hold up. So let's continue here. Vanev posits that intelligent impulses, or even human mind itself, because a musician can understand these impulses, existed long before the Big Bang happened. And this goes right along with what we talk about in my channel all the time. We say that this is a reality of mind, a rational reality that can be described using mathematics, and this existed prior to the Big Bang, and that it was mind as a system of structured reason and mathematics that actually went into a state of asymmetry, which resulted in the Big Bang. So this, what this individual is saying is, interestingly similar. It says that intelligent impulses or even human mind itself, because a musician can understand these impulses, existed long before the Big Bang happened. This discovery is, and I want to make it clear, when we talk about mind existing before the Big Bang, mind being eternal, we're not talking about specifically human minds, just mind in general, just subjective sentience. So this discovery is probably both the greatest discovery in the... So this is Veneve talking here. This discovery is probably both the greatest discovery in the history of mankind and the worst discovery for many, as it poses very unnerving questions that touch religious grounds. So he's claiming one of the most greatest discoveries in the history of mankind. However, he's also saying that it's going to be the worst for a lot of people because he believes that it implies a creator. We're going to take a look at this and see why he thinks this and if it's true or not. So the Voxengo developer sums up his findings as follows. The results, or these results of 1-bit priv-hash says the following. And I want to remind you, I am not a programmer. That is not something I have delved into. But we're going to take a look at the philosophical claims being made here. So the results are the following. If abstract mathematics contains not just a system of rules for manipulating numbers, but also a freely defined fixed information that is also readable by a person, then mathematics does not just exist, but it was formed, because mathematics does not evolve beside human discovery of new rules and patterns. And since physics cannot be formulated without such mathematics, and physical processes clearly obey these mathematical rules, it means that a creator/higher intelligence/God exists in relation to the universe. For the author, personally, everything is proven here. Now I'm going to take that and break it down and see what's actually being said in just a minute. Veneve says that he wanted to, quote, share my astonishment and satisfaction with the results of this work that took much more of my time than I had wished for, but that you don't need to concern yourself too much with his findings if you don't want to. The PRV hash, the priv-hash itself, is just a good white noise generator, he concludes. So you don't have to worry about any other information its development has brought. So you can just enjoy it as a white noise generator if you like. So we're going to take a look more at what he says here, and a little bit more at his the work itself, just a bit. But it's important to break this down. So what is he saying? He's saying that if abstract math contains not just a system of rules for manipulating numbers, but also defined fixed information that's readable by a person, then mathematics does not just exist, but it was formed, because mathematics does not evolve besides human discovery of new patterns. So what he's saying here is that mathematics doesn't evolve. Mathematics is fixed. And humans can discover new rules and patterns about math, but that mathematics itself is fixed and does not evolve. And you can understand that easily by thinking about the rules and laws of mathematics. For example, the rules that the fact that 2 plus 2 equals 4, that's eternally true. That's never going to change. 2 plus 2 is not evolving. 2 plus 2 equals 4 will not evolve into 2 plus 2 equals 8. It cannot. The rules of mathematics are fixed. The rules of mathematics are eternal. 2 plus 2 will always equal 4. Now, that's different from how most of life operates. All the rest of reality is constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly transforming. Time is passing. We're going through space. Your body is constantly, decaying and generating new cells. Everything is in motion. Everything is transforming. Everything is evolving. Everything is moving. But mathematics, as far as the formal structure and laws, the rational laws of mathematics, is not. It's fixed. So, So what this individual here is claiming From what I understand, by the way, keep in mind that I am understanding this individual's claims from these brief paragraphs that I'm looking at and snippets of his work. I have not allocated days of my time to deeply studying this person's thoughts. But from what I can see here, what this individual is claiming is that because mathematics isn't something that evolves, that it is the way it is, he's claiming that it was created. Because if you see other things develop through evolution, like the human body has developed through evolution, we can show that, people will claim, well, the human body didn't need a creator, we evolved. All the things around you didn't need a creator, they evolved. What this individual is essentially saying is that mathematics didn't evolve, it's fixed, and his conclusion is, therefore, it needs a creator, because how else could it have come to be? It didn't evolve. How did it come to be? And his conclusion, well, a creator must have created it. Now, is that true? Well, we'll see. But I want to continue a little more here. And he says, and since physics cannot be formulated without such mathematics, and physical processes clearly obey these mathematical rules, it means that a creator / higher intelligence / God exists in relation to the universe. And for the author personally, everything is proven here. So basically what he's saying is, everything else, physics and physical processes that give rise to everything around you, depend on these mathematical laws. And so then all reality depend on these mathematical laws. So the human body that evolved at root, at base, depends on the laws of mathematics for this evolution to have occurred. And so then his conclusion is, well, then, if mathematics didn't evolve, a God or higher intelligence or being must have created it. So what we're going to see here is that, and I want to look a little bit more at what this individual says in his work, because this is a very fascinating story in general. It's very cool how it's coming from just this music plugin and his conclusions based on creating a white noise generator. Very, very interesting. But essentially what he's saying, or what it is that it's not that some God created mathematics. It's that reality itself is living, structured, mathematical mind. So you could say that God didn't create mathematics. Mathematics is God. See, the error that this individual makes, from what I understand from this brief paragraph, I want to make that caveat. He perhaps has said something else somewhere else. I don't know. But it's not that, well, math doesn't evolve. It's always, it's fixed. So it must have had a creator. The opposite is true. It's that math is eternal. Math has always been and always will be. Why? Because this is a reality of reason. It's a rational living mind, a mind that is mathematical. And it is eternal. And it doesn't need a creator, because you see, the interesting part is that what this individual sort of has brought up is the fact that math is always fixed. But that shows or points to the fact that not that it was created, but that it is eternal. 2 + 2 will always equal 4. You can't create the idea 2 + 2 = 4. That idea, 2 + 2 = 4, cannot be created. Now, humans discover this pattern, and they invent the particular shape that we use for number 2, the different notation, the equal sign, the addition sign. Yeah, humans invent the symbols, the notation. But the idea itself that underlies reality, just the law of 2 + 2 = 4, that is eternal, and humans just discover it. It's always been, and it always will be. And that's because this is a reality of reason, and these laws, these rational laws of existence, are mandatory. They have to exist, and they must exist. And if you want to understand why they have to exist, why they must exist, check out my video called, I believe, The Answer to the Greatest Philosophical Question of All Time. And in that video, I explain why these laws have to exist, why they must exist. But I will give you a quick, sort of like a quick and dirty explanation, which is a different explanation from the one in that video, but check out that video for a more in-depth explanation. But if you understand reality as being mathematics, then you can understand that we can understand, right? Reality is this rational structure. It's a rational structure of mind. And because it's a rational structure of mind, we can understand this mathematically. We can describe this through mathematics. And when we do so, we understand that if we were to take all of mathematics together, if we were to take the entirety of mathematics and included in that, well, say you took all the numbers in existence, what would you get? Well, you would get 0. Because if you take a perfect system that contains its opposite within itself, if you have +1, you also have -1. If you have +2, you also have -2. If you have, +3, you also have -3. If you have +4, you also have -4. For every number that has its opposite, its total result is 0. And this is equivalent to nothingness. Because 0 is the mathematical description of nothingness. We can use the concept of 0 to mathematically describe nothingness, which actually contains everything because it contains every value within it. So reality is a system of eternal nothingness, because 0 doesn't need anything. 0 and nothing don't need to be created. 0 and nothing just are. They're mandatory. They must exist. The concept of nothing is not anything that you can create, nor is it anything that you can destroy. Just like the concept of 2 + 2 = 4. You can never destroy that rule, and you can never create that rule. That rule is necessary and eternal, and it has to exist, and it must exist. And it has to exist and must exist because if it didn't, then the impossible would exist, and then by definition, that is impossible. So these laws have to exist to prevent internal contradictions, and reality can't have any internal contradictions within it. These laws and rules are what prevent reality from having internal contradiction, but that's not possible. It can't. So then they must exist. They have to exist. So that's why it's kind of like described as, oh, God is all powerful and everything and perfect. Well, it's not really that there's some creator God that's all powerful, eternal, and perfect. It is that the rational laws of the universe itself are all eternal, powerful, and perfect. And I'm not going to get into it in this video because it would take too much time to explain. But I've done it in other videos where we understand that is what we are. Because not only is it describable via mathematics, but it is mind. It is subjective sentience. It's living frequency. Because frequency and waves are just mathematical concepts. Frequency, waves, thoughts, mind. We can describe all these things in terms of mathematics. And ultimately, that is what we are. So it's not that there is an external creator God that created the idea of mathematics. That's not what happened. Because then you'd have to ask, well, who created that creator God? And then it turtles all the way down because, well, who created that one? And who created that one? And the next one? And the next one? You get infinite regress. And so there's no answer. The fact is, the reason why mathematics, the laws of mathematics don't evolve is not because it's created, but because it is the absolute. It is what we are. It is at least the way we can formally describe the rational structure of reality and our mind and what we are. So we are all eternal monadic minds. And this is how we can understand our existence. But let's read, I want to read a little more of what this person has to say, just because it is so interesting. And it was so interesting. This is from the Voxengo website. It says, sharing the final result of my research. Hello, dear Voxengo users. This is Alexei Vaniv talking. As you may know, Elephant and some other Voxengo products since some time feature Pravash dithering noise generator invented by myself. Recently, I've developed it so far that I've seemingly broke into some back door in mathematics itself. The meaning of this finding is questionable, and I'm actually not pushing any specific meaning on anyone, but making my own personal conclusions. Otherwise, it's hard to know what to look for if one is unexperienced in these matters. The finding, the program, and the conclusions, and the looks of the back door are presented here, and then there's a link to a page, which I'll go to in just a moment. I just wanted to share my astonishment and satisfaction with the results of this work that took much more of my time than I had wished for. The Pravash itself is just a good white noise generator, so you don't have to worry about any other information its development has brought. It's not a miracle, nor is it magic, but something pre-existent that only waited for a moment to be discovered. Any comments and questions are Welcome. And that's what's important to understand, is that the truth about reality is just waiting there to be discovered. Mathematical laws have always existed, humans discovering them one day. But what's really important is to understand what reality truly is. Just like when humans were not self-aware. Imagine a time where humans were not self-aware and they didn't recognize themselves, let's say, in a mirror. I'm being very, very, this is a thought experiment, not saying that anything like this actually happened. But you imagine when a dog looks in the mirror, a dog doesn't realize that that's its own reflection. It barks at it because it thinks it's another dog. You can imagine perhaps a time when a human would look in the mirror and not recognize itself and think it was another human. So at that point, self-awareness hadn't been developed. But it just takes the realization, the discovery to think, oh, I'm me. I am a unique individual. That was something that was discovered and understood. And there are so many things that we need to discover and understand, and especially right now, because humanity is going through this shift and this change, we need to realize that everything around us is a reflection of what we are. And that's how one reaches a new level of consciousness. There's a lot to it, like phenomenological experience, concept networking, metacognition. There's a lot to it. But ultimately, we have to realize that the universe itself and every single person and everything around you is a reflection of what you are and what we are, and that we're all connected in one system, and that ultimately we are the absolute, an eternal living mind that we can understand formally via mathematics, and that we as one absolute living mind have shattered ourselves, so to speak, into a multiplicity of viewpoints. Philosophically speaking, we can say that the universal has particularized itself, and this is what allows us to have the experience that we're having together right now. We are this one mind that has generated this experience for ourselves, to have this journey throughout space and time, getting to know each other. And as we get to know each other through our journey through space and time, we realize that we're getting to know ourselves. That's why know thyself and you will know the universe and the gods, because we are the universe and the gods. There's nothing external to us. There's no creator God. We are the great I am. We are the all that there is. We are that, that saying, the I am that I am, the unchanging God. We are the unchanging God in the fact of being formally the formal structure of mathematics, but we're also the absolute. We are the God of becoming and eternal change. So you can have unchanging and change go together. You can have the formal rational structure that allows for change to occur. And that might be a little confusing, but a great easy way to understand that is sort of like, let's say, let's use Legos as an example, because that's, everyone knows what those are. If you have a bunch of Lego bricks, those bricks, they don't change. They're always the same. They're not changing, they're not evolving, but you can take those bricks and rearrange them into many different patterns and many different shapes. So that is how reality operates. We are a system of reason, a system of reason, a mind, a living mind, and we are able to shift into many different patterns. And we can shift as a one united mind into a pattern of multiplicity and diversity, and get to know each other and learn from each other as we're getting to know and learning from each other as ourselves. And we're going through this great journey together. And that's why it's really important for this world to reach a new level of consciousness. Because when it does so, we can develop a planetary civilization and have enter into a new phase of existence where we're thriving and really enjoying life and journeying together rather than killing and destroying each other. And we're killing and destroying each other because humanity doesn't realize that we're ultimately united. Instead, they have a fear of the other. They have the fear of what is different, a fear of what is foreign, a fear of what is not like them. But that mindset needs to be switched to realize that, we shouldn't fear the different. We should see it as an opportunity to get to know ourselves, the different aspects of us, of what we are better in this journey of diversity and multiplicity that we're going through right now. So I just real quick, we can take a look at the actual paper here. And again, this is very, very long. I have by no means looked through this in detail. But it's, if anyone else would like to, feel free. They're talking a lot about number sequences with impulses in a varying period of rhythm. a researcher has to consider 2 points: whether or not these impulses can be considered intelligence, and the odds that the mentioned program can produce such impulses, considering the program has no user input or no programmer entropy, nor any logic. But anyway, says in the author's opinion, the program reads data directly from the entropy pool, which is encoded into mathematics from its inception. Like any mathematical constant, such as pi, this poses an interesting and probably very questionable proposition. The intelligent impulses, or even human mind itself, because a musician can understand these impulses, existed long before the Big Bang happened. This discovery is probably the greatest discovery in the history of mankind and the worst discovery for many, as it poses very unnerving questions that touch on religious ground. And of course, he talks about before the Big Bang. Before the Big Bang is when we were completely and totally united. It was before we experienced ourselves in diversity. The Big Bang was that moment in which we shattered. And by shattering, I mean we went from a one united mind into one universal mind into a vast multiplicity of particularities. It's like, imagine taking a Lego structure that's perfect and united and sort of smashing it, and it's shattering everywhere. But then we sort of start to slowly have the process of rebuilding it. That shattering, that's the Big Bang occurring, and then evolution is the slowly building that structure back up again. So we go through these cycles of unity and division, unity and division, unity and division. And this is the eternal journey that we're all on together as a mind that experiences itself in multiplicity and particularity and becomes united in one again, and then goes through this continuous cycle. And continuing here, he says, the results say the following. Oh, and I think we read this before in the previous excerpt. Yes, that's correct. And so this is here for anyone that would like to read this. Now, I want to make it very clear again. I am not a programmer, and I have not read through this. I saw this article yesterday or something like that, and I thought, hey, this would be cool. Let's check this out. So this guy could be absolutely crazy. I don't know. I don't know what the results of his data actually say. Maybe he could even just be doing this as a big marketing marketing ploy to get people to look at his plugin. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe, it's all genuine and it all checks out. But regardless of that, what he is talking about is very interesting, and whether his results actually show what he claims that it shows, we can take a look at his claims and see why he's saying what he's saying, and see how it ties into many of the things that we talk about here. How he's discovering the eternal nature of mathematics, or at least the unchanging nature of mathematics, and thinking, whoa, that's interesting. It's a God must have created it, but we know that unchanging quality of mathematics is not because a God created it, but because we are a living mind, a system of reason, and this can be described mathematically. And we are the system of frequency, the system of mind that is coming to know itself through this process. And that's why it existed before the Big Bang. Because before the Big Bang, we existed. We were there. We have just forgotten. And that's why we want to wake up the world, to remind the world what they are, where they are, and why they are here. So I hope you enjoyed this. I have a lot more videos. Check out my channel. If you enjoy my work, hey, hit like, hit subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you ever feel like you've learned something or gotten something from my work, consider supporting on Patreon. It helps out a lot. It's the best way to support my work. You'll get access to our weekly supporters-only live streams. There's one happening right now, right after this. And you also get access to our hidden Discord server, The Citadel. I appreciate it very much. I want to give a big shout out to everyone who does support on Patreon, especially Zach, Renaissance Sarah, Cassidy, Michael, Angela, Maria, Top of the World, Athan, DB, and Storm the Delta. A link will pop up right over here. Thank you very much.